how do you get those people inside so that they can actually get on those planes? And both of you have served in major command roles inside Afghanistan. Did you not see the possibility that the Afghan security forces were not up to this fight?
We continue to work with the State Department officials on the ground to improve the procedures, at the entry points to make sure that we can speed up the process of getting people in and move them onward. And so the state is deploying more consular officers to be able to help with that. As I stated earlier, we're going to push more military assistance down to the entry points to facilitate these efforts. But we're really working hard to get as many people through as possible. And quite frankly, it's obvious we're not close to where we want to be in terms of getting the numbers through. So we're going to work that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're going to get everyone that we can possibly evacuate it. And I'll do that as long as we possibly can until the clock runs out or we run out of capability.
And also about the Afghan security forces, did you feel that they were ever up to this fight, or did you not see this coming, that they were not up to the fight?
Well, I stood behind this podium and said that the Afghan security forces had the capacity, and by that I mean they had the training, the size, the capability to defend their country. This comes down to an issue of will and leadership. And no, I did not, nor did anyone else, see a collapse of an army that size in 11 days.
Idris.
Thank you. So if August 31st is the end date, at what point does the military need to start thinking about and carrying out its own retrograde to meet that deadline? And secondly, do you believe or do you regret not starting the evacuation a bit earlier, even by a day or two, to sort of get ahead of the curve?
So that's a great question. At what point do we start thinking about having to retrograde our own capabilities? That's actually the point before we put them in there. We know that we got to have the right mix of capabilities on the ground. We don't want to put excessive materials on the ground that are not relevant to what we're doing. And we have to develop a detailed plan and to retrograde our equipment and our people and synchronize that plan with our efforts to get as many people out as fast as we can, with the time that we have available. So that work is something that we started thinking about very early on, and that's something that we'll continue to think about and develop detailed plans for.
And regretting not starting the evacuation even a few days earlier?
Who's that for, Idris?
Either one.
We make plans for a number of things, and clearly, as the chairman pointed out, as we did detailed planning throughout, we recognize that there might be a point in time when we have to conduct a NEO. So we position all the right forces in theater to be able to do that. We put forces on standby in the United States to support that. And of course, we also were in support of the state-led SIV applicant process throughout. So, in terms of doing everything that we could at the right time, I think we have been pretty prudent in terms of thinking ahead and planning for contingencies, and we're executing one of those plans right now. So.
Helene?
This question is for both of you, and I'd like for both of you to answer. It seems like, I know we keep harping on the same thing, but it feels like the video is not matching the audio right now. It seems to me like barring a lobotomy by the Taliban, you have 3 pathways ahead of you. One, you can expand the perimeter and establish a corridor into Kabul to get our Afghan allies out. 2, you can extend the August 31st deadline of withdrawing. Or 3, you can just leave the tens of thousands of Afghans who've helped us over the past 20 years behind. Which one is it going to be?
first of all, as I said, Helene, we're going to evacuate everybody that we can physically possibly evacuate, and we'll conduct this process for as long as we possibly can. We will continue to deconflict issues with the Taliban, and we will stay focused on securing the airfield. We cannot afford to either not defend that airfield or not have an airfield that's secure where we have hundreds or thousands of civilians that can access the airfield at will and put our forces at risk.
But that doesn't answer the question. I mean, you're still saying you're focused on the airfield. These people can't get into the airfield.
Well, we're going to do everything we can to continue to try to deconflict and create passageways for them to get to the airfield. I don't have the capability to go out and extend operations currently into Kabul. And where do you take that? I mean, how far can you extend into Kabul? You know, and how long does it take to flow those forces in to be able to do that?
So it sounds like you're saying this depends on diplomacy with the Taliban. That's it. That's our only option, is getting them to agree to do this.
Well, let me add something here, Helene. We got a couple entry control points set up, a north one, east one, and a